Hello all, this is the Owl, and welcome back to another installment in our series featuring theories from you, our fantastic viewers. Before we start, I just want to say a huge thanks to all of you who have asked after us and our well-being, and especially those who've patroned up or sent super thanks. We're doing okay despite us being just so tired. Baby Owl is going through a demanding phase and is kind of kicking our asses. Anyways, enough griping, let's dive right back on in. Oh, but before we do that, a reminder. If you want to submit or comment on theories, I would strongly recommend heading over to the Discord and putting them into the Fan Theories channel. I know some of you have submitted them in the comments before, but I'll be honest with you, I always lose track of these. And I do get maybe a handful every day, so this series will likely never end until the manga does, and if your theory didn't make it in this time, well, we'll get there. Okay, let's do this. First up, from Joyful Deer. And a reminder that I will be paraphrasing these at times, just for the sake of clarity. I actually had a thought about Reg having to murder somebody, and it may be possible that he attempted to actually kill that person, but due to certain circumstances, he actually did not manage to pull it off and failed. The person I potentially believe could have been a target for Reg was Rico. Think about it. He was 200 meters away, there was a split jaw in the way, and he refers to his arm cannon as a rewriter later in the story. And he said he was low on charges for it. For a while, and I don't necessarily know why. It gave me the impression that the first shot we ever see from Reg was actually a missed shot. That's a really fascinating idea. I have personally considered Liza being evil, or even future Rico being a baddie, but Reg? That's a new one. So if I'm understanding you correctly, Reg meant to hit Rico, hit the split jaw instead, and then became her companion after she shocked him into amnesia. Okay, I am curious as to why his beam didn't just penetrate through the split jaw, but let's roll with it. There definitely was something odd about the way that the entire incident was framed. And to my mind, this oddness has never really been explained or even explored further. I don't know how likely or not likely this one is, but it's certainly one hell of a theory. And it would be the sort of gut punch that Tsukushi enjoys. This next one though, oh boy. From Esmara Maludora, Lady of Thorns. I actually have a theory that the necklace is either part of Liza or Liza herself, and by part of her, I specifically mean her eye. Whenever you see art of her, it always emphasizes her eyes and how bright they are, and this gemstone, when held up to the light properly, makes the shape of a bright blue eye. In this theory, Reg was sent with that relic to give it to Rico so she could watch over her. she can no longer leave the 7th layer, so she did this to be able to watch her from the bottom of the abyss. Or she's gone, and this is all that is left of her, and she gave it to Reg to make sure it had safe passage to her daughter. If it was the second one, and Liza's already gone, in his passing of the 3rd layer, he remembers Liza telling her stories of her favorite flowers, so he made a grave for her. Dude, that's actually legit genius. I was just wondering about the necklace, as we do see it in Volume 3. I thought that it might be a star compass, but when you put these side by side and theorize about it being Liza's right eye, well, we have already established that there are indeed relics that can replace eyes, as in the case of Bondrewd, and we also know that Reg has a direct history with Liza. Who knows the exact form said history took, and the image of Liza setting up a little Captain Kurtz situation on Layer 7 with interference units doing her bidding is admittedly pretty nifty. One thing that isn't really related but is also interesting to think about. All the white whistles have a whistle with a form having some bearing on their nature or history. Liza's is a keyhole, and I'm very curious as to the significance of this. The next one is from a name that I'm not even going to try and pronounce, because the last time I did, I said cow map, and you all laughed at me. Maybe the Abyss, for some reason, really wants to turn humans into animals, but human bodies are just bad at this transformation. On upper layers, the force field is weak, and the transformation is weak too, but on the 6th layer, it's strong enough to actually do it. Being a hollow is actually good in the Abyss. You can see the curse and avoid it. So maybe on the bottom is a relic that was used by ancient civilizations to become superhuman, and their bodies were different, and the curse actually worked as a blessing on everyone. And then he goes on to give the theory that said civilization were aliens, which is interesting, but we won't touch on that here. Oh, that's why it turns people into earth animals, because they are already adapted to this planet. So aliens try to become like them. Huh. This is something that I've personally wondered about. Hollows and blessed hollows do indeed receive an animalistic form for the most part, with blessed hollows like Nanachi receiving a high form and simple Narehate receiving a low form. However, you also get weird stuff like the Iruburu villagers and their myriad, often esoteric forms, likely a result of the corrupt wish fulfillment of the Metacradle forged from Irumyui's flesh. That said, the organically formed hollows have a definite animal appearance, and we also see this when Bondrew transforms. The idea of it being an adaptation to life in the Abyss is very interesting. I wonder if this is a seize the night or fear nothing situation, he says, realizing that he's referencing books that nobody else has ever read. Anyways, next one, from Sir Sideburns. That's just a fun name. Theory: the ring on the 7th layer is the whites of an eye. I don't know what creature this eye belongs to, but rolling with the theory that the abyss is alive, this could be a sign. Secondly, following along with the previous idea, the seventh layer would be made out of people. This is because we never see or get a proper description of the seventh layer's curse. So the seventh layer could be a mound of flesh formed by thousands of years of people dying to the curse, and their cursed bodies could mold together into the layer. This would also explain why the walls of the seventh layer look so abnormal. Additionally, if you're going with the idea that the abyss is alive, then this could mean that the seventh layer is basically collecting the food into one big mass. And then every cycle of the abyss is a feeding cycle when the abyss consumes the seventh layer and every other layer drops down a step. There are actually a good few theories along these lines on the Discord, speculating about what lies within Layer 7, the Great Maelstrom, and why it has such a Geiger-esque organic-looking nature. While I don't know if this is the most likely amongst them, it's Lovecraftian enough that I just had to include it, because an entire layer made of meat is just the most metal thing ever. To be honest, I don't really have anything to add here, but yeah, those really do look like eyes, don't they? And the feeding cycle idea, yeah, again, very interesting. Our last theory of the day comes from Joyful Deer again, and it is absolutely nutty butties. I had posted this theory over on Reddit, titled The Mysterious Letter. To keep this theory short, it is my belief that this mysterious relic letter is written on skin, and there are a few details on the letter to actually prove this and show who it belongs to. The owner of this skin is Rico. The first detail we can use to help prove this determination is the cut off line on the right side of the letter. That line is of a different width than the other runes, suggesting it's something else, i.e. not a rune. When you match that line that has been cut off to the cut that Rico received in the fifth layer in Edelfront in the anime, it matches almost completely. The other details we can use to help us prove that this is skin is the bottom left corner, which seems to have sustained more damage and suggests that this area was Rico's nose area. She cut off her face? Plus, the holes in that area suggest those holes come from the glasses that Rico wears. It is also my belief that Rico somehow addressed this letter from the bottom of the abyss to herself, and the tool that was used to cut this piece of skin off her face used the essence of returning light. Yeah, again, that's another absolutely nutty butties one. What I would have to ask though is, according to Ozen, the material the letter is written on is all but indestructible. Even with Ozen's ridiculous 1,000-man wedge enhanced strength, she was completely unable to inflict any damage onto the letter. How and why is Rico indestructible? Is this some sort of paradox protection? I don't know. What I would also be curious about is why the glyphs used are so archaic. Regardless, it's one hell of a theory, I will give you that much. So, there we have it, folks. 5 more absolutely bonkers theories from the wonderful little community over on the Discord. Once again, if you want to give your opinion on these, or submit one of your own, you can either do so in the comments or head over to the Discord, but I would strongly recommend the latter, as I tend to forget about the comments. And let's call it there. Before we finish for the day, I want to give a huge thanks, as always, to my fantastic patrons: Jake Reagan, Piece of Yeast, Elspresso, Cheerful Satanist, Starwin Marwin, Kel Call, Opinion Custard, Jacob Ramsey, Crazy, James Bakes Bread, Wargle, Lance Goebel, Paul Norberger, Rafferty, Aaron Arnold, The Hedgehog Gamer, Simone, XTC Pill, B Empress, Jake, and Cheshire Quill. If you want to see more like this, why not stick around? Subscribe, bell, you know the drill. If you want to hear me say your name, get early access to most of my videos, have some fun perks on the Discord, and, you know, help Mrs. Owl and I out, or buy Baby Owl a present, or the necessaries. Diapers are frigging expensive, man. And ensure that I can keep on doing what I do, why not take a look at our Patreon or leave us a super thanks? If you want to chit chat about, well, basically anything, drop by our Twitch channel. We generally stream on Friday evenings and Sunday afternoons, or our Discord. Take care, my friends, and cheers. This is the Owl, signing off.